Vince Vaughn exposed Hollywood like never before.
Most people, they want to laugh. They don't want to see stuff be precious that you can't talk or joke about. I think that the talk shows, to a large part, became really agenda-based.
Yeah.
They were going to evangelical people to what they thought.
During an appearance on Theo Vaughn's podcast, Vince tore through the late night shows. He then blew the lid off the groupthink driving Hollywood's out-of-touch takes. And the people there are loving it. That's why today we're breaking it all down. So hit that subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
Why a lot of the late shows have struggled.
Oh,
because
bro.
all they did during the only person they could make fun of at a certain point was just like white redneck kind of people, and and then everything tanked after that.
Think about that. But see, they never get it right. The podcasts have gotten so much more popular with less production, less writers, less staff. And the reason why
we have two people working here, and both of them are hungover. Then one guy has shingles.
But the place is clean. I like that. You keep a clean place.
Thank you. Yeah, we did a vacuum.
But yeah, because people want authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think that the talk shows, to a large part, became really agenda-based.
Yeah.
They were going to evangelical people to what they thought. You know what I mean? And so people just rejected it because it didn't feel authentic. It felt like they had an agenda. And it stopped being funny, and it started feeling like I was in a class I didn't want to take.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure,
I'm getting
dude.
scolded. 100%.
Exactly. And beyond the authenticity issue, the bigger problem is that these shows slowly turned into daily propaganda sessions. And that did the real damage. It's clear by now that the American people don't like getting told how or what to think. But a decade ago, the people behind these shows thought that they could always get away with it. Sure, they're hosted by comedians and the whole idea is about punching up. But it's kind of interesting how that disappeared the moment Biden took office. It goes to show that they were less interested in entertainment and more into pushing an ideology. But now they're sitting there wondering why fewer people are tuning in.
The phenomenon isn't what they say. They always blame technology. But the reality is it's the approach.
Right. And
So
I want it pure.
that's where you're coming from. That's the main point. And I think people are going to tune into a podcast more so because they want to feel like people are having a real conversation. It's interesting to them. But if you look at what happened to the talk shows and why their ratings are low, it's got only to do with the fact of what you just said, which is they all became the same show.
Yeah.
And they all became so about their politics and who's good and who's bad. And it's like, imagine sitting next to someone like that on a plane.
Oh.
Bro, you'd be like, how do I get out of this seat?
I would fart right next to him.
Holy cow. Yeah. You fart your way out of it.
Yeah, dude, I would.
That's an interesting way to put it, but that's a valid point. A lot of these talk show hosts and celebrities in general don't feel like people you can sit down and have a normal conversation with. It's always feeling like it's one step away from turning into a lecture, like they've crammed up on talking points and just need a moment to unload them. Theo picked up on that shift and steered the conversation towards Hollywood as a whole. And that's when Vince started hinting at how the industry quietly nudges actors into certain political lanes. Take a look.
You never felt ostracized by Hollywood at all, or no?
I got along with people for the most, and always was,
Always had a great career.
Try to be honest who I am. But yeah, there's times you felt like it would have been easier. It's almost like a career move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I was always the other way too. Like, I'm not jumping on 100% this or this because I have opinions on both sides. There's shit I don't agree with at all.
Yeah.
And then there's I don't agree with at all.
I don't see how people could choose a side completely.
Bro, it's so crazy.
Because also, once you're on a side, you're on a side. F that. I want to be able to have the freedom to go.
Flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I agree with this over here. I agree with this over there. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think as it started to encroach on us, for me, I started to go a little bit back here because nobody wants to be told what to do.
Or feel like everything you do has to be through a certain lens.
A lot of people don't realize this, but Vince is one of the few conservatives in Hollywood who's managed to keep a steady career while being pretty open about his views. He once summed up perfectly during an interview saying, "I think that when you get older, you just get less trust in the government running anything." Naturally, that put a giant target on his back by the cancel mob, and the most recent attacks came after he was pictured in the White House standing next to President Trump. But here's what's even more interesting. Vince doesn't think Hollywood approaches liberalism the way most assume, and the way he explains it kind of adds a whole new angle.
Well, it was, for a long time, it was like, Hollywood is pretty much overly kind of a liberal place.
Yeah.
And so you would have...
But not really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more like we're smart and got it figured out. And if you don't agree,
then you're
an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's true.
It's
more elitist.
Not liberal in the way that we think, where it's like, hey, it's all groovy.
Right. Yeah, it's not liberal like a hippie with a joint.
No, man, no.
Maybe
that's
was
pursuit of happiness. That's cool. Whatever makes you happy, bro. Right. That's cool.
Maybe it was at one point, though, I think.
I don't know.
But it's definitely got more of an elitist take, like this is our way or the highway.
I think it's changing now.
Well, do you think it's dissolving now, or do you think it's just spacing out more now? Like
that's an interesting conversation too, because I hear this from the different groups too. I do think that there's less control in some ways, but I also think that they put themselves in a corner with trying to please everybody. You know, you're going to catch pneumonia. You're trying to please everybody. That's like that old Vaughn quote.
Speaking of quotes, there's another gem from Morgan Freeman when he said, "Hollywood is colorblind. They only see green." And that lines up with what Vince is getting at. It's not really about pleasing everyone. It's about protecting their bottom line. The people at the top are focused on profit, plain and simple. And they've already seen what happens when messaging goes too far in one direction. Audiences start checking out, even from franchises that are supposed to be printing money. So then the question becomes, why lean into politics at all if it risks turning people away? Well, Vince actually has a pretty solid theory about that, so I'll let him do the explaining.
I think Hollywood got more political. I don't know if it got more political.
No, they got rewarded for it. Yeah, they started to come out there and do it. And I don't even know how much everyone even is informed on everything.
Yeah.
But they really like to get out there and do it.
Oh, yeah. But it's also wild how those people will speak on one thing, but there'll be another topic that's way bigger.
And they're hypocrites, too, a lot of times. Like anybody is.
Oh, for sure, dude. I think
you'll be like, I feel strong about this, but it's a strange thing when you start going like, you know better than someone.
Yeah.
That's when it gets weird. It's one thing to say, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And then hear someone else's point of view and disagree or agree. It's another thing to be like, I'm so right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to help you or condescend to you. That's the part that no one wants to hang out with that. Yeah, so it got to that.
My agent is right, and so I'm going to have to tell you what they think. You know, that's also another, that happens a lot too. Say that again. Where people are like, feel like they have to think how their agents or managers, you know what I'm saying? Where they feel pressured to think a certain way.
That's terrible, and that happens. But that's the problem if you're going through life trying to check boxes like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Like, let me get the broom. Let me do this. What is the wizard? You're not thinking for yourself. You're just trying to do the things you're supposed to.
That's what it all boils down to. Checking boxes and sticking to the right messaging, hoping the higher-ups notice, which then opens more doors. But the thing is, Hollywood and the broader entertainment industry doesn't have the same level of control that it once did. They no longer get to decide whose voice gets heard or which idea takes off. Obviously, social media hasn't replaced that system entirely. It's still a major force, but the balance is changed forever. Now regular people have a way to jump in and shape the conversation instead of just sitting back and only consuming it.